children. How are you all? I hope you all are fine and enjoying the online classes. We were discussing lesson number 8, the nervous system. This is part 3 of the nervous system. In the previous session, we have discussed about the nervous system, its functions, its parts, and also how it works, right? Now children, we are going to learn more in detail about the nervous system and its parts. But before we do that, let us recall quickly what we have already discussed by solving few questions based on it. Now, before I tell you the correct answers, you be ready with your answers. And remember to read the book after every session, right? You have to read the lesson every day or after every session. When you watch the science lesson, go and read the lesson again, okay? Now, the first question is, dash carry messages from all parts of body to the brain. The options are blood, nerves, spinal cord, none of these. So, what is the correct answer, children? What carry messages from all parts of body to the brain? The answer is B, nerves. The nerves carry messages from all parts of the body to the brain. Similarly, from brain to all the other parts of the body. Now, have a look at this picture. Children, do you know this is the picture of what? Very good. This is the picture of brain, right? Now here, if you can see here, A, B and C are marked, okay? In the previous session, we learned how to make the diagram of the human brain, right? So, now you should know what is A, B and C. So, can you tell me the answers? What are the parts called, or what are these parts called A, B and C? Let us have a look. So, the A is cerebrum, B cerebellum and C brainstem. Now, the next question is, dash sends instructions to the circulatory and respiratory systems to work faster when you run. The options are heart, lungs, brain or kidney. So, what is the answer, children? What sends instructions to the circulatory and respiratory systems to work faster when you run? Right, the answer is C, brain. As we have already discussed that brains give instructions to all the organ systems on how they should work, right? Now, the next question, the dash system also controls your sense organs. Respiratory system, muscular system, nervous system or skeletal system. So, the correct answer is C, nervous system, right? Nervous system gives us information about our surroundings and it controls all the organ systems in the body. And so the answer is the nervous system. The nervous system controls sense organs also, right? Now, without the nervous system, you cannot. The options are C, hear, smell or all of this. So, what is the correct answer, children? The correct answer is D, all of this. As all the sense organs work in coordination with the nervous system. And without the nervous system, we cannot do any of these things, right? We cannot see, we cannot hear, we cannot smell, right? Okay. So, again we are discussing about the brain. As we saw, the parts of the brain are the cerebrum, the cerebellum and the brainstem. What are the three parts of the brain, children? The cerebrum, the cerebellum and the brainstem. As we saw in the diagram, again here is the diagram of the brain. Now if you can see, children, in the diagram, the entire portion which is having the folds in it, right? The whole portion is cerebrum, okay? And now this lining one here, this is the cerebellum, and down here it is the brainstem. So now you remember it properly. The entire portion is the cerebrum, then the lining one here down behind the cerebrum is the cerebellum, and here is the brain stem. So the three parts of the brain are cerebrum, cerebellum and the brain stem. Now the brain is most remarkable part of our body, right? The brain is protected by the skull. As we have already discussed that the skull protects the brain, right? And we saw how does it look? Yes, it looks like a walnut and is the control system for the whole body, right? As we have discussed that the brain and the nervous system controls the rest of the body. It controls all the other systems of the body. It stores a lot of information and recall the information when needed. This is called memory, right? Because if you remember, you can recall things, right? For example, if I tell you something, you will say that we have learned this in the previous class, okay? Few things you can remember that you have already learned in the previous standard or previous class, right, children? So this is our memory. We can recall thing, we can remember the thing that we have already done, right? That is called the memory, and brain is having the memory. Memory is the most important part of the brain. Because of the memory only, we can remember the things which we have already done. For example, when you read something, it gets stored in your brain, right? That is why you can answer the questions, you can write your exams, you can answer the questions asked by the teacher, because it gets stored in the memory, right? Now, the brain controls what we think and feel, how we learn and remember, we move and talk, as it controls everything in the body. It also controls the beating of our heart and digestion of our food. Now these things we know that it controls how we learn because of the memory, how we walk, how we talk, everything is controlled by our brain. And some actions that happen automatically in the body are also controlled by our brain. For example, the beating of our heart, the digestion of our food, the swallowing of our food, that is also controlled by our brain. These actions are called involuntary actions, which happen automatically in the body. So, let us learn more about the brain. The brain is the control center for the whole body. It controls everything that goes on in the body. Now let us take brain as the computer, and which controls all the other functions in the rest of the body and the rest of the nervous system. The three parts of the nervous system are brain, spinal cord and the nerves. Now we know that the brain is the one that controls, right? So brain controls all the functions and gives the information to rest of the organ systems. What is the function of the spinal cord? Spinal cord is between the brain. It acts as a mediator, right? It sends and receives the information. It helps in sending and receiving the information, right? Whatever information the nerves gather from the rest of the body, it sends the information to the brain. And the instructions that are given by the brain it is sent to the rest of the body through the spinal cord, right? And via the spinal cord, the messages travel from rest of the body to the brain and from the brain to the rest of the body. Now, it contains nerves that reach every organ. The spinal cord is a bundle of nerves. It contains nerves that reaches all the organs of the body. That is why it is we know that the nerves are there present throughout the body. Nerves are present everywhere in our body. We have the network of nerves. Why? Because for sending and receiving the messages. Now, suppose your brain did not have memory. What problems do you think you will have? Can you tell children? If the brain had no memory, we would not be able to learn anything. All the instructions will have to be given over and over again. Because of the memory, we can recall things. If the brain had no memory, then every time the instructions have to be given and we would not be able to learn anything, right? Because memory is related to learning. Because we have memory, we can learn things. If we did not have memory, if the brain did not have memory, then we wouldn't be able to learn anything, right? Now, how do you think some people are able to use the keyboard of computer without looking at it? You must have seen people who can type on the keyboard without looking at the keyboard. Can you tell me what is the reason? Yes, the reason is your brain. Because the brain learns the position of the keys. And once the brain learns the position of the keys, you can type or a person can type without looking at where the key is. Because the brain instructs the fingers or the muscles of the fingers for the correct key. So, when a person uses the keyboard for a long time, keyboard of a computer for a long time, the brain learns the position of the keys on the keyboard and automatically sends instructions to the muscles of the fingers for pressing the appropriate key. The fingers become sensitive to the touch of the correct key and tell wrong pinch from the correct one. So, today we discussed about different parts of the brain, right? How does the brain work? How memory helps us to learn things?